I want to talk to you today about a very important subject, accountability. In life, in business, in everything that we do, we have to take accountability. I started my business in 1986. 10 years later, I was 32 at that time, so about 10 years later, we'd finally gotten over the hump and we were making money, and the business had a net worth of $1 million. That was a big hurdle for me. That was an exciting time. 10 years later, the business had a value of about $3 million, along with some other assets that we had on property. And so I was getting ready to retire. I was in my early 50s. The business was running great without me. Things were going so well, and then something happened. At the end of 2007, going into 2008, the recession hit. Our business went from 12 million in sales down to 4 million. We were losing money so fast, I couldn't cut quick enough to keep up with it. It was a hard time, hardest thing that I ever went through. It was just devastating to my business. Our property values that we sold our house and put that money into the business. We had one piece of property that had equity in it. The other properties we had were upside down. So we really had zero net worth in our properties at that time, because property values came down so much. Our business wasn't worth anything because it was losing money. I could sell it and liquidate it, but it wasn't even enough to pay the bank off, so I had to try to make it work. And I was 52 years old. I didn't want to start over. It was so difficult. Going through this time, we had a bank loan, a line of credit with the bank for our business, because we have accounts receivable and we have inventory. So if you do that, you pretty much have to have a line of credit. Well, we'd been at this for a couple of months. It was really tough. And the bank officer came to me that had done the loan for us, and he said, "Ken, we have a problem. You're out of compliance on your loan. And that's not a good thing. Banks don't like that." And so I said, "Okay, here's what I'm doing." I explained to him what we were doing, working on it. It didn't get any better. Next month he came back and said, "Ken, this is a problem. You got to fix this." Month after he came back, same thing. And finally he said, "Ken, this is the deal. If you don't get this fixed, we'll have to turn you over to the special assets account, and you'll have to deal with Ann." And he said, "You don't want to deal with Ann." And I said, "No, I don't want to deal with Ann. It's like being sent to the principal, right?" But it happened. The next month he came back and he said, "Sorry, they've taken your account away from me. Here's Ann's number. Call her up and go see her." And so I called her and I set an appointment. I went to see her. I went with a plan. I went in, I sat down, we talked for a minute, and this is what I said. I said, "Ann, the situation I am in right now is my making. It's my fault. I made some mistakes, and it's cost the company. I take 100% accountability for what's happened." And I told her what we were doing, what we were planning on doing, and what we were going to do to get out of this and get back into a point where we were in compliance. That conversation took about 15 minutes, and when I finished, she just looked at me and said, "Okay, that works for me." And I walked out. That was it. And I thought, how did that happen? And it took some time for me to really figure it out, what happened with it. Why she was so agreeable was this. I had a number of contractors that owed us money that weren't able to pay us, and we would contact them, and every single one of those contractors had excuses, multiple excuses why they couldn't pay. It was the government, it was the recession, it was the bank, whatever it was, they came up with excuse after excuse. And I thought, this lady dealt with people who were out of compliance all the time. That was her job, and I was probably the only person in those years that she did that who ever came in and said, "This is my fault. I take accountability for it." And when you take accountability for something, then you become accountable to fix it and not blame it on somebody else, and there's nothing I can do. So I went to work and I fixed it. It took some time. It took a few years to get there. 10 years later, 11 years later, the company was bigger, better, and stronger than it had ever been by far. I learned a lot from that recession, the mistakes I made, and I don't make those mistakes anymore. But in life, whatever you do, take accountability, or else you will never grow, you'll never develop, you'll always blame it on somebody else. It's not your fault. Be accountable for all of your actions. I'd like to hear your story. So, make comments. This is important stuff, because your comments that I can use to help other people to understand at a deeper level what we're talking about. So, we teach this stuff in our Think Big workshops. I hope you'll join us. I'd love to see you and hear from you. Thanks for joining me.